Okay, so I decided to come up here to Burial Ridge, because what's a little bad weather without, some good wind to go with it? And I'm getting plenty of that here. So now, this spot is said to be like, you look down the hill and stuff. It's said to be where the Native Americans buried their dead. Burial Ridge is what it's really called. But when I look around here, what I really see are man-made structures. Strange little trenches in the ground like that with rocks piled around it. That's kind of a dead giveaway that some humans were here with their shovels. And this whole thing here, I mean, you can't tell me that erosion from here created that trench all the way down the side. And it looks like there's another trench there. And then when I come over here to the actual high point, which is this rock here, then you see another trench headed down off to the side. So I think what we can safely do here, let's see, here's this trench, and this is, again, it's not erosion making these things. I think we can safely assume that the British were keeping some form of an outpost here as well as another 300 yards to the north at another spot. But it's definitely rainy and windy and miserable up here on Cemetery Ridge or Burial Ridge. I don't know, the Ridge of Doom, whatever. But pretty nice, actually. It's not too cold. I want to go down to that little landing down there. Take a peek, see what that might have. Somebody came up here and made their own little spooky pile of rocks, or maybe it's the Native Americans, because, I mean, if there's any spot in New York City where we know that the Indians were here, then it's going to be this spot. We're at the south point of Staten Island. You can look out here. You can't really see it today because of the leaves, but if the trees had no leaves, you'd be able to see off to New Jersey and out there to the Channel and out past the Fresh Kills landfill. Yes, is directly, basically dead ahead in this shot, but you just can't see it. And your vantage point here is incredibly good. And then back in this direction, of course, is just a little bit of a saddle, and then the ground rises again to the higher spot with the other British fort. But I have to believe that this is also a legitimate outpost of some kind for somebody more than the mill owners that I am led to believe occupied the area during the 17 and 1800s, and then basically vanished after that. There was no mill left. And of course, looking around here, you can see the evidence of some hard partying. It's a birch tree, isn't it? It just kind of fell apart. But some old cans. Let's see if we can get any kind of a date. Well, it's a pull tab can, so it's not any kind of new can. Just stuff laying around. This definitely used to be the party spot. I think 30 years ago, if you were to pull out the metal detector, all you'd get is car parts, I think. And an ass load of old beer bottles. Wow, one of these beer bottles got to be worth something. And I think what they do is they come up here on the dirt bikes and hang out and smoke. And again, dirt bikes didn't create that trench either. This isn't the local hill climb. You can see these two trenches as you look back across this. And those rocks are not rocks that are there. Those rocks were dropped by the famous glaciers that dropped rocks everywhere around here, which you can see as I pan around. That's definitely how it happened here. Yeah, lots of bottles. Here's a can. What is this? Very old spray paint can. Another can that required a pull tab to gain access. Some concrete. That was not brought here by the dirt bike guys. There's some more concrete right there. Concrete usually being the sign of something a little bit more substantial than an Indian burial ground. And again, my research indicates that there were no structures ever here. But I'm going to actually have to take that back looking at the chunks of concrete on the ground. So that's really all I know. You know, nobody really hung out here according to the historical texts other than the Lenape. But of course, with the only access to the ocean, basically, back in those days would have been out at this end of the creek, which is down here, down at the bottom of the hill. And then it goes out to the channel there. And then you got the church back in this direction, maybe a half a mile. That was, that's been there since the 1600s. So your only access between any of that stuff would have been coming by here in one shape or form. And down there is the road. There is Old Mill Road down this hill, I don't know, 3/4 of the way. Maybe that's what you can see kind of jutting out there, but I don't think that's low enough on the hillside. And it definitely looks like a tangled old car down in there too. There are a couple of cars over here as well. I don't know where that 69 Pontiac Grand Prix is, and I can't really see the pickup. I guess they're over in that way. I get the feeling there were a lot of cars back here once. Okay, so that's good. That's the Burial Ridge.